Yeah, sure. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we're on page AyinBase 2 or
Kuf Nun Tes.
Kuf Mem Tes.
Kuf Nun Tes.
Kuf Nun Tes in the pamphlets. About 10 lines from the bottom, the line begins with the word dafkah. Cool. We are being explained the principle of the neshama in the guf. And primarily the neshama and the guf have no commonality. And there is not a means of which a neshama on its own would seek to relate to the guf, and we understand what the guf is all about. The fact that the neshama is in the guf, and as we discussed, and we'll discuss more, the neshama is in the guf in full sense. It is not there as a stranger. Although it would not choose to be there, but it is there in a full sense. It actually gives life to the guf and gives inspiration and oil to the guf. It actually relates to the guf, which is a kind of an anomaly. How can the neshama relate to the guf? And this is what happens, and this is what we're seeking to understand how that happens. The neshama coming in the guf, as you said, is an anomaly, and therefore it is not something
What's the word anomaly?
Anomaly, not normal.
Not normally? Okay. Anomaly.
Join your Babish, learn English.
לא נורמלי. בכלל.
So, in describing the neshama coming into the group, it says, "Vayipach be'apav nishmas chai," that Hashem blew into his nostrils the neshama of life, which is not at all similar to the way he describes the creation of all other animals. The other animals were created in normal. Thank you. Here it was neficha. And what is the implication of what neficha? So the Zohar explains neficha is something which is expressing a force coming from deep down in pnimis of the, like in a person. He blows, he has to gather and relate to the deeper koiches in the person, which is going to be discussed. It's an interesting inning to understand. And therefore, this is why it says, "Vayipach be'apav nishmas chaim." To bring the neshama into the guf, they had to be brought out from the depths of Elokus. That's expressed by the Vayipach b'neficha. Neficha, typically, is something which bypasses the normal gradual track. You go straight from inside all the way out. Not like in speech, where, yes, speech also, the sound originates deep down, but it comes out in a very controlled, a very natural manner. And it becomes, so it actually associates and is mislavish in the mouth, and then the mouth subdivides the sound according to the various content of that sound, and produces a normal sound. Neficha bypasses that whole process. It comes from inside all the way into the outside. And the motion for this the Rebbe gives is like dilug, jumping, hopping across. So in the jump, there is also that principle that one goes from one place to another place, not in a graduated manner. He skips across a whole distance that normally would require several steps to go through. And here he just skips it. Now let's look inside. The line begins with the word dafkah. So about 10 lines on the bottom on AyinBase 2. As in the case, for example, one who jumps from place to place. This jumping is accomplished by an overpowering force, not by a normal graduated production of the force. Takboiras, the force is it comes with greater strength, overpowering. The force overpowers all obstacles with takboiras. Overpowers all obstacles. The behilu, where in the case of walking, there is not more rak mikoyach chayos hanefesh and mislapish meivori haguf. In hiluch there is also koyach hanefesh, but what is manifest and what is employed in hiluch koyach hanefesh, that chayos hanefesh that mislapish, that unites with the ivorim of the guf. That unites with the ivorim and completely relates to the limbs that allow him to walk. V'gam im hoylech b'merutza, and even if one walks in a running fashion, or psiogasa, or in large steps, ein bozet agboiras koyach, there is not an element of overpowering koyach. He is utilizing the superficial, the functioning koyach to a greater measure, but it's not a deeper koyach. But when one jumps from a high place, from a high mountain to a very low place, that is accomplished with agboiras koyach, with an overpowering of koyach. So this is going to be discussed further. And before we get deeply involved in all the details that the Rebbe points out, which the Rebbe is describing the excessive koyach that is expressed, that is shown in these extra types of movements. And this is takboiras koyach. This koyach is overpowered. Now, what I wanted to point out is that we shall understand this takboiras koyach, as we shall see, this overpowering of koyach, is a neshama koyach, not a guf koyach. It would seem to us, a person jumps. He has strong legs, so he jumps. This is a function of the legs. But we are trying to bring out the Ayin from Monanov and Mitechenov, and that it goes from the depths of his koyach. So I'm going to deviate slightly, so that we can understand what's the implication of all that. surely we're describing something that we can observe. But at the time when we're observing, we do not recognize what it is that we're looking at. I said, he's got strong legs. But this is not what the Rebbe is talking about. And one with open eyes, this is not what he sees. To give us a very simple illustration, even from sports. Sports is clearly depending on strong legs and strong arms. But that is not enough. What is a coach? A coach is one who is encouraging, inspiring the players. Not one who is teaching them how to jump. That they can do on their own. But a special inspiration. It's interesting in sports, I'm not that familiar, but you hear from time to time, this team is now on a winning spree. What do you mean on a winning spree? Every game you're playing the win independently. What's a winning spree? Winning spree, a winning series of winning games. Okay? This is expressing an inspiration. And this inspiration brings out the deeper koyach. So let's talk about dilug, because we spoke about this in different times. Dilug, jumping across. And we explained just now in this discussion, a couple of days ago, that the neshama relates to the goof, and relates to the goof entirely on the goof level. And one way where we could see this is because the neshama itself, as the Hashem says, "Mokim shudetzoyin shalodam shamhu." The neshama bypasses space, doesn't look at the physical space. The neshama is where it wants to be. That is its perception. The neshama, the entire existence is one true godly existence, and it is where it wants to be. All of a sudden, it's mislavish in the group, and it can actually reduce its inspiration and its perception to not being there, but to getting there. And it actually begins to calculate, it's able to calculate how many steps is this? How many miles is this? How many yards is this? This is not within the purview of the neshama itself. But the neshama, but in order to do this, you have the inspiration from the neshama. You have to get the koyach from the neshama to inspire you to walk. That means that the neshama has been established in the group and now thinks on the group level. This is a phenomenal thing. The neshama has been established in the group and be able to think at the group level is a phenomenal thing. In this thing of jumping, the motion from the jumping is very clear. A person can normally perceive the principle, yes, I want to be there. In order to be there, it requires that I walk a certain distance. And that distance has to be walked, has to be covered. Every step of it has to be covered. When he jumps, what makes him think about this? What makes him perceive the idea that he can jump from here across to here? Skipping 10 steps. This is not his normal activity. If he thinks in terms of skipping 10 steps, that means that he is now looking at this space from a higher level. Not from a practical, measurable, worldly level. Because in world, he is skipping all these steps. So he's looking a little bit higher, like from a neshama perception. I want to be there. So I jump right across. For a person to perceive the idea of being there rather than to getting there, covering all the steps, that is already a deeper perception than the normal. And this is why we're saying that in order to jump, it has to bring out the koyach with greater force because it comes from a deeper perception. Bypassing the entire natural requirement, and I'm saying no, I don't need to cover it. I'm going to go from here to here because I have enough spirit to bring me across, and I have to cover this every inch of it. This is the principle of Tagboyres Achayis. And this is the principle of Mandelofach Mitechin of Nofach. The Neficha is similarly, it's blowing from the inside the person going straight out and bypassing, so to speak, the conduits through which it goes.
Speech organs of speech. Like organs of speech.
Yeah, organs
like
of everything.
You communicate usually through speech, and this here you blow.
It's not only communicating. Normally, the movement of the inside movement are controlled by the outside movement. We can't let the inspiration from carry the legs. The legs have to be consulted. Can you do this? How are you going to do it? Here we're not consulting the legs at all, or the mouth.
What's the correlation? I mean, it's clear example of jumping versus walking in order to get from one place to another. It's clear, but in speech, I mean, blowing out versus speaking, where are you trying to get?
I want to give my sense, my feeling, directly, without going through the process of explaining.
Right. It's like midas. You want to give midas
Right.
without.
Right. Or the answer, yeah. So this is really, this depth is, I said, you should not misunderstand, it's not a physical phenomenon. It is an instrument, it is an inspiration. Okay. Now, the example that the Rebbe gives, and I would like we should all be sensitive to what the Rebbe is telling us, which confirms, which explains what we just not explained. Again, I'm reading the line that we started. Hadoileg, one who jumps, mimokim from no, 2 lines down. When one jumps from a high mountain to a low place, to a very low place. This comes with excessive force. How much force does it take to fall from a mountain?
That's where you know it's talking about the neshama.
Right? What inspires one to jump from a high place to down?
Like what you lost there, kind of, yeah?
Yeah, this is inspiration. This is neshama in it. There is no great force physically required. So you see clearly, the Rebbe gives this kind of example, so we clearly see what he's talking about. How much strength do you need to jump from the roof?
You don't need any strength.
What does the Rebbe say?
It requires a lot of strength. So I'm asking, the strength is to convince oneself, so to say, to go down from high up. Usually you try to climb higher.
Excuse me. Okay, want to use your terminology. You can't convince yourself to go from a high place to down.
Right.
It's a strength that comes from inside. It bypasses the convincing process.
Meaning the other way around makes all sense, right? You could convince yourself to climb or jump from the bottom to the top, right?
No. But there, you could see it's a difficult thing. But here the Rebbe is giving this an example where physically this is not a challenge at all. And he's showing us that anything anomaly, anything unusual, anything that bypasses the normal process is actually showing, bringing up a deeper koyach in the nefesh. So we're not talking about physical koyach. We're talking about neshama koyach.
I understand. I just don't get it. Nothing.
You don't get what?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
I explained before that a sports team, in order to win, have to be inspired, not just taught how to hit the ball. Not enough. When you inspired, you have to hit the ball with your hands.
It's the same thing what you said about covering the distance via jumping versus walking. You're just bringing our attention that the Rebbe picked something that clearly points it out. Okay. In other words, it's opposed to climbing downwards.
Right. Okay. And as is the case in the Gemara gives example. The Gemara says, Kofetz Yardeno. Kofetz Yardeno, he jumps across the yard. That's Rish Lakish. He saw Rabbi Yechon across the river, and he jumped across the Yarden. Omer Rabbi Yechonon, and Rabbi Yechonon immediately said to him, Chelach le'iraisa. Your strength is suited for Torah. Chelach le'iraisa. Now, if the jump across the Yarden entailed strong legs, how is that helpful for the Torah? What's my reason? How is that helpful for Torah? Because the Shokis have strong legs. Because the Yechon was referring to the strength of your spirit. Because this jump represented not strong legs, but represented a spirit strength.
How does it make sense the end of that story? You know how the story went?
Okay, we're not into stories right now. Shezehu Chelo Yatir, which means it represents Chelo Yatir, excessive Chayil. Now, this Chayil, what Chayil, Eshes Chayil, what Chayil means a powerful woman. Eshes Chayil means one who can accomplish things by her spirit. That's meant Eshes Chayil. David HaMelech was instructed, Shlomo HaMelech, Beis Leish Chayil. What's meant Chayil? Chayil means a dedicated and a strong-willed person. What's meant Chayil? Chayal, yeah, Chayil. That's what the Chayal is. That's right. And this is Be'at Agboiras Koyach Be'yoser. And it represents Tagboiras Koyach, the strengthening, the overpowering of Koyach. I would like we should think in the terminology and the words so that it would give us a sense what the Rebbe is Tagboyres koyach. Now everybody has koyach. Again, as we said before, all koyachs are mislabish in levushim, in the kelim, mislabish in the hands and the feet, and the hands and the feet have to agree with that type of movement. How? The kelim have to agree with it. That's how it works. If you perceive you want to go from place to place, your judgment is how many steps the feet, how will the feet be able to carry it. You're not focusing on the koyach, you're focusing on the kelim. I'll be exhausted after I walked this thing. What will be exhausted? The kelim, the legs will be exhausted, not the koyach HaNefesh. Tagboyres koyach means that the koyach overpowers all obstacles, and you're walking on a ruchnisdike force, not on a physical force. There are stories. Just want to mention. Not going into stories again, just to demonstrate in it. Chassidim used to come to their Rabbeim, so come for Yom Tov to the Rabbeim. There's stories where the Rebbe describes, the Frierdiker describes, where they came in groups, in large groups, and then from different generations danced themselves, and then they joined together. I don't know if you ever saw this in whole description. And they used to dance hours on end. Hours on end. Elderly people, not youngsters. This was not strength, this was chaya. They were carried by their spirit. So this was a tagboyres koyach. The title of tagboyres koyach means the koyach was overpowering. Not the legs hadn't become any stronger. But the koyach became so overpowering that the koyach carried the legs. Like it says that ha'orein noisei es noiser. Anybody know that expression refers to? The orein, the Levim used to carry the orein. Huh? The Levim carried the horse, carried the orein. So the orein carried that. Ha'orein noisei es noiser. The Kehanim covered it, and the Levim carried it. Like horse. So it says that when they crossed the Yarden, so the Levim got into the Yarden, into the water, and the water split, and all the Eden went across, and then they came back onto the shore where they started, on the other side of the Yarden, and then the Oren carried them across. That's a tagboyres koyach. The koyach overpowers. The koyach makes the keli rather than a keli providing for the koyach. Now, this is a phenomenal thing because this koyach couldn't carry the Oren. The Oren had to be carried physically. That's it. So the Levim had to hold on to the Oren. But then when they held on to the Oren, then the spirit of it carried them.
The spirit of the Oren carried them.
Carried them. They would. The same thing is in physical. It's like boiras koyach means the koyach is overpowering, but it will not pick you up if you're sitting down. If you're walking, you're jumping, it will carry you. It will not carry a lazy guy. It will carry an agile person. Okay, let's go.
Does that mean the Oren was alive?
As in the case When you need to lift up a certain weight, so there we have the phenomenon. When it applies to a weight, a load that is not very heavy, you don't need to lift it. Tagboiras means special overpowering, reinforcement. But if the load is heavy, for that you need tagboiras koyach. That you need the overpowering of the koyach. What does that mean, the overpowering koyach? The haina, which means lahoitzi, to bring forth, or legalois, and to reveal koyach hanelam, to reveal the concealed koyach. We will discuss it now, and the Rebbe is going to give it. What's in the concealed koyach? I've said before, the person has to cover a certain distance. At first, he judges his distance on the basis of how many steps it will take. How long is it going to be? This is based on the kelim, on the normal process, normal koyach. When one is especially inspired and to get where he wants to be, then this spirit, this inspiration, that for getting there, bypasses the entire process of getting there. And we have, in our discussions, already illustrations of this, and hopefully we'll understand this. We always say this: a human being stands on two legs, on 2 feet. Standing on 2 feet in this physical world does not make any sense. How does one stand? And solidly. If you are dependent on the ground to hold you, you have to go on all fours. So here is a perfect illustration of the principle of learning. Because the person has to stand on the ground. He's not flying. But he's standing on the ground only to the extent that he needs to be connected and related to the ground, but not that the ground is holding him. What's holding him? And what's holding him? The sky is holding him, not the ground. There you see clearly that in a human being there is tagboiras hachayus. It's his life force, his intellect that's holding him up. It is not the physical body. That's clear. And this is called tagboiras hachayus, where you see pure chayus, even though he's attached to the ground. But you see pure chayus. There's no physical explanation how he stinks. That's what kabbalah koyach, where you see pure koyach. Jumping across is see pure. There's a neshama koyach. These are not the legs. And this one, Rabbi Yechon said to Rish Lakish, chelach le'eraisa. The chayat, the force of your spirit. This is what got you across the yard. That's great for Torah. And I want to just add on the side, I can't miss it. Because Torah is entirely spirit. The entire principle of intellect, of understanding Torah, is based on spirit. It's not a physical thing.
Dedication to it?
Huh?
Like dedication?
I might as well explain it. Everybody knows the Mishnah, Shnayim Oichas Betalis. Shnayim Oichas Betalis. Shnayim Oichas Betalis. Everybody knows it. Two people are holding a talis and come to the best. This one says, I found it, one says, I found it. It's mine, it's mine. So the Mishnah says like this. If this one says, it's kulishali, it's entirely mine, this one says kulishali. So each one should swear that he possesses no less than half of it. And they divide it. Seems to be a very simple adjudication. Let him divide it. And I explained many times, we have to remember that there is, in Torah, there is a difference between halacha and pshara. Pshara means make a compromise. A compromise, no Rav, a Beis cannot enforce a compromise. A compromise has to be solicited by the contenders. The Beis has to pass judgment according to Din. Din can pierce the mountain. Compromise, the Beis has no power unless the people says, okay, we want to compromise. So if they say you divided, it's not a compromise, it's a halacha. How do you know what happened? This one says it's mine, this one says you divide it. So I just want to explain something. In yeshiva, normally, among the great scholars of 18-year-olds, we were saying, oh, it's possible that this is true because they must have picked it up together. This one, they both picked it up and they played at the same time. And therefore, there's a physical reason why we're saying that you divide it. But then when you come to the next case in the Mishnah, this one says, mine, half is mine, and the other one says the whole is mine. What is it din then? What is it din then? That we divided 3/4 and a quarter. How can it be physically right, 3/4 and a quarter? Did they pick it up together or not? How can one pick up a quarter and the other one pick up 3/4?
Well, I always thought one grabs the bag and the other one grabs what sits in it.
All right, well, do you have an explanation of this? London. Did you ever think of it? Okay. It always bothered me. What does this mean? How, on what basis are we adjudicating over here?
The judgment seems to be based upon the claim of what they think.
Okay.
Not
physical exam?
Right.
So how is claim? Good, very good. That's exactly it. The judgment is based on claim. How is claim a reason for judgment? Judgment has to be on the basis of some truth, some proof. L'choira, right? You would think. So here is the principle. We speak about this all the time. Ownership is a spiritual thing. Ownership is that which is provided by Hashem to us, by God. Ownership is not a physical thing. You hold this. Does that make it yours? It makes it yours because Hashem said you have the right to own property. If not for that, you couldn't own anything. Like the lion doesn't own anything. He can fight for it. He can kill anybody who goes into his stirrup, but doesn't make it his. Only a human being has this ability because it's a God-given ability. In other words, it's a spiritual thing. And because this is a spiritual thing, so therefore the claim is what makes it his. Exactly right. So this is the principle in Torah. Chayloch le'erais. Your spirit is for Torah, because Torah is spirit. Torah requires that you should understand the spirit of the world, not the physical makeup of the world. And the spiritual world is a godly presence in the world. One who has a soul spirit, he can really relate to the spirit of the world. Let's go on. Okay. Shezehu chela yatir. Okay, everybody has a place. Shezehu chela yatir. This refers to chela yatir, excessive chayim, force of spirit. Betagberes koyach beyoiser, with an excessive tagberes koyach, overpowering of the koyach. I'm sorry, I went back. No, I didn't mean to. Let's go down 2 lines. You have to bring out and reveal the concealed koyach. What is koyach hanelam? This is koyach hanelam. Koyach hanelam, this is the sense of what is the spirit of the world. This you don't see. This doesn't come in the form of a koyach of action. This is the force behind the action. That's what koyach hanelam. I hope I'm not confusing you again. We speak many times that what is chokhmah? What is the perception of chokhmah?
That the thing is real.
What is the depth of chokhmah? Chokhmah tells you that there is such a thing as truth. This reality, the physical reality, is not really real. What makes it real is the truth behind it. Chokhmah perceives that there is such thing as truth. So they're a completely different thing. Like we say all the time, with sight and chokhmah are interchangeable in our discussion. With sight you can observe an unlimited expanse in an instant. This doesn't make any sense. What are you seeing? The expanse? No, you see that which allows for the expanse. That's what you see. This is the spirit behind that sight. Sight really is a spiritual experience. Like chokhmah is a spiritual experience. The spirit of the nefesh. It says in Tanya, in one of the Hagos, what is chokhmah? Chokhmah is hu levadei hu ve'en zo loseh. That there is only he and there's nothing but him. That's chokhmah. That's a possession of chokhmah. What kind of understanding, what kind of seichel is this? This is a pure perception of the truth. So this is the koyach hanelam. Nelam means, I've explained many times recently, nelam, where is it concealed? It's concealed in the essence. It's not concealed because there is something hiding it. It is in the part of the essence, and it doesn't. It's not in the essence. It's not in the form of a koyach, in the form of functioning koyach. And it comes forward, but it comes out from the essence, it comes with force, because it's the essence itself that's activating it. Koyach hanel. That's when you can see it from koyach. The bozeh iker ha'hefresh. Here is where the principal difference bein giboy l'cholosh. Take a look. The principal difference between a giboy and a cholosh. Cholosh means a weak person, and giboy means a powerful person. The word gibor does not mean a strong person. Chazak is a strong person. Gibor is one who overcomes all obstacles with a gibor. Have I asked you Nomer, the Kalkeneshet, Gibor ku Ari, what's Ari? Ari is not so powerful. I mean, Ari in his domain is powerful, but I've seen, in a rhinoceros give a lion a kick and it flew 10 feet up in the air.
Who did?
A rhinoceros.
Or not?
Really. A whole bunch of lions. They gathered on the rhinoceros. And then the rhinoceros came back and he gave one of them a kick and they flew 10 feet in the air and they all ran away like little pussycats. I watched it on a video. They all compared to these powerful mammoth creatures. But they are gibor. Gibor means he will not hesitate to attack anyone, anything. Gibor Kuari.
How come he ran away?
What?
I said, how come he ran away?
Oh, he's not stupid.
He was a keeper, but he wasn't stupid.
Super be suicidal.
Okay. But there you can have fresh ben gibor lecholos. This is the principal difference between a gibor and a cholos. The hagibor bekoicha lehoitzi gam koicha anelam beyosid. This is what a gibor is. He is capable of bringing forth even the koicha hanelam. Hanelam means the koicha that is contained in the essence. Where is this koicha come from? The spirit behind the koicha. That's been koicha hanelam. Umishum zeh, and because of this, ein shum dovor kovid lefon. There is nothing that is too heavy for him. Nothing that is hard for him. The hagbo has maso kvedo, which means simply that lifting a heavy load, zehu bekoya hanel. This is due to and this is utilizing the koyach hanelam, the essential koyach, not the functional koyach.